I am Sidney Hugh. I was born on the 3rd of April 1928. I volunteered for the Royal Navy at the recruitment office in Chatham, the upper floor of Burton's Tailors and Outfitters, on the 28th of November 1945. My first posting was to the Royal Arthur Basic Training Camp in Skegness. After training, eventually joined HMS Woolwich at Chatham. The Woolwich took around 800 of us to Malta via Gibraltar to relieve veterans on various ships around the Mediterranean. At night we slept in hammocks slung from purpose-made hooks in the ceilings or deckhead. When the sea was rough, the hammocks would swing from side to side. I had expected to be working in the engine room, but instead, and without being offered a choice, I was put into the catering corps. The hammock went everywhere with me, ship or barracks. There were no beds, only the hammock. Cooking on board ship in the galley was mass catering with enormous equipment. Once cooked, the food was sent down in a lift to the servery, where various of the ship's company would serve themselves at different settings for each mess. I remained in Malta for around 18 months. Living somewhere abroad was a big adventure, which I enjoyed very much. I picked up some of the language and managed to learn and sing Sorrento in Maltese from beginning to end. I can still manage snatches of it even now. While on patrol around the Mediterranean, the ship was fitted with mine cutters. There were many live mines under the surface. As the cutters freed them, they came to the surface and were shot at until they exploded, well away from the ship. I transferred eventually to HMS Brissenden, which was sailing for Portsmouth to be refitted. I transferred to Victory Barracks, where I remained for 3 months before finally being released from service in January 48. I was issued with a demob suit, but had to go all the way back to Portsmouth to receive it. The suit was of good quality, good enough for me to walk smartly around. Epsom Racecourse on Derby Day the following year, sporting a trilby hat which came free with the suit.
What did you do in Malta, Dad? What did you do in your time off?
We went ashore. It was difficult, really. I know it was the end of the war, but everywhere we went, whether we went to Malta, whether we went to Cyprus, which we did, we went to Crete. When we went to Crete, they had laid on a party for us to go ashore and to have a party. But having said that, we were one of the first time that I'd ever heard about infantile paralysis, and we had a matelot on board that had infantile paralysis, and of course I think at that time a seaplane came alongside and took him back off into Greece or somewhere like that. It did used to come up on the board, I think, you know, if you wanted to know how he was, I think it did. But so that was dampened. So we had a fortnight on board there. We never went ashore. We didn't go nowhere because he was under quarantine. Up went the flags and we was under quarantine. What else did you ask me?
So how long were you allowed off the ship for in Malta then, Dad?
Well, we had leave. They would take us ashore. We went ashore and we were limited wherever we went, and we was always recommended you only ever went in twos. You never You never went on your own. I never knew, all the time I was in Malta, Malta's a small island. I don't believe it's only about 25 miles, whatever. Well, they got an airport there, but having said that, we were limited. But we did go to the next biggest town, which was Salima. And in Salima, they've got, I think it's about the third biggest dome in the world, apart from St Paul's, on one of their there. I think it's the third biggest in the world, Salima. That was another. Valletta is where we were docked.
Right.
At Valletta, and then you could catch a bus to go to Salima. That was a bit more easy, but when we went anywhere else, we was limited to... you know, when you went ashore.
So did they speak Italian out there, Dad?
I think basically it is. I think if you can speak French, you pretty well got some of their lingo wherever there.
Right.
But none of it don't add up to me. The language don't make sense to me. You wanted a cup, they call that a kickler, or kickler, a cup. Yeah. Cavinti Taib, how are you? Good. What does that make sense? If I said, how are you? And you said to me, Cavinti Taib, I'd say, hey, were. And that would be, yes. So these things like that.
After all these years?
Yeah. I like the Sorrento, Justamina Moa, Campas, Santi Iscarens, the Dio, and so it goes on. But what language that in, I don't know. But I think that was very popular at the time. And I think the gentleman that sang it was Geely.
Right,
Geely.
Do you remember when Down Your Way, the Radio 4
Yes, he did.
programme,
He come to Friendster, didn't he?
They interviewed you, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
And what song did you choose?
Sorrento.
You did. I remember you
but
choosing
that was relatively new then, really. I mean, a lot of water's gone under the bridge since then. But it was a famous song, and I liked it. It was, you know, it was a... Well, it was more of opera, really. It was, well, you call it opera if you like, I don't know. But it was lovely.
I remember it then.
Yeah.
But now I know why you chose it. I didn't realise you could sing it.
Yeah. I'd sing along with it if it's got on and got the music. I don't know half of it, you know. Justamina Marcampa, Santi Escudero, and so I know I get some of it I can pick up.
Did you have a ship's cat or anything, Dad?
They did. They did when we went out. We didn't have a cat. There was 2 dogs on board, funny enough, Sandy and Guinness. I can remember them today.
Really?
How they was allowed to take them, I don't know. I thought, well, if the ship goes down, the dogs go down too. But it must have been lapsed, really. It wouldn't. I don't think it would happen today.
I've no idea, Dad.
But I don't think it was on there. But I ain't so sure as on one ship they didn't have a little old hammock for a cat.
Really?
On one of the boats. I mean, there's no difference really, I suppose, in the mascot with your regiments. I mean, whether it be the West Kents or whatever they are. Some of these, I think some of these Welsh people have got a goat as a mascot. Yeah.
Was you worried about the ship going down, Dad, with all the mines?
Well, I think, you know, when I listen today, manners, of these young men going in the service there. Oh, it is a shame. Poor Billy's got to go in there. You know, he's only 17. He's going in there. I find that difficult. I don't think you got any fear of anything when you're younger.
So the war was virtually over then, was it? By the time you
yes,
went out the war?
Yeah.
So you didn't come.
Yeah,
out
we
the
didn't
fire
quite get. No, we didn't quite get the end of the war medal. We missed out on that by a couple of months, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just ended. But it was say that there was still plenty of mines in it. Nothing had been cleaned up.
No.
But it was still out of, everywhere was out of bounds.
Yeah.
And it was only recommended you went to. I know we docked in Cyprus. That was a notorious place there. Yet people go on holiday there now and think it's wonderful. But of course you've got the north and south. They're Turk Cypriots, I think, up the north, and wherefore they're whatever they are, Cypriots in the south there.
Yeah.
But that was a notorious place there. You didn't go out there on your own, but we did get some shore leave there, and we did just go ashore. But the night before we went in there, as I told Teresa, our ship was dragged every night with chains, with a chain either side. They go down the decks and drag it, because you got these people coming out, sticking on, these bombs underneath there, sticky bombs here, and there was a merchant packet blowed up before we went in there, so that looked a bit healthy.
Yeah.
But they kept watch all night by doing that.
Yeah.
They'd come out, swim out there, and stick these. They were sticky bombs, I think they were called.
That was over Cyprus.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was in the Merchant Navy and we went to Cyprus,
Yeah.
but we weren't allowed to go into the harbour. We just anchored way out.
Yeah. Well, there you go. It
And,
follows what I say.
And the army came out and offloaded stuff, and that was
Yeah.
the only time in the Merchant Navy where I had to do a deck patrol.
Yeah.
And there was two of us on the watch, and
Yeah.
you did a deck patrol. God knows what I thought we were going to do, because we didn't have anything to,
No.
you know.
Well, there you go. It follows on from what I say, so it's absolutely true.
But I'm now talking sort of quite a few years later, really. I mean, I was,
Yes, you are. Yeah.
it was
But anywhere there, Ken, when you come to, sorry about in there,
right.
but when you come to take it all round that north coast, North
Yeah.
Africa, where our boys fought in the desert there, you take from Israel right round now to Syria and Egypt.
Yeah.
We were going to Famagusta in Turkey, we were, but that was cancelled.
Yeah.
For I don't know why, but we was all called back one night quick, I know, on board. We was at shore, but we all had to get back a bit quick on board because we were sailing next day. But all them parts round there have been Beirut, have been nothing but trouble ever since Dot, I believe.
Well, my dad was in the machine gun corps in the First World War, and he was, I suppose he was one of the lucky ones, because
Of course.
his career was all down through the Middle East, Egypt, and that sort
Yeah,
of thing, you know.
yeah. And there's still trouble till today,
Yeah, yeah.
and there will be. Look at the trouble we've had with Iraq, Iran.
Yeah.
It's a good job Israel are a bit stable, because I do think they are very good friends with the Americans, although they have their differences, but it's a base, which I think, you know, anything happens out there, it is a base for the Americans, I feel. But of course, that's a different, we're talking something different
Let's
now.
hope that never happens, Dad.
No.
That would be terrible.
But all round there, but again, I didn't, but there was some jolly hard battles, I think, fought in the Mediterranean.
Uh-huh.
There was some ships went down there, by God.
Dad, didn't you tell me that you was on your ship was on its way out to Hiroshima, but they dropped that bomb and that ended? I mean, didn't you once tell me
No, that was later years. That's on
Right.
Christmas Island, wasn't it? In Hiroshima. No, that was Hiroshima, wasn't
Yes.
it? There.
But you managed. Luckily, they stopped you off at Malta, and that prevented you
Yeah,
going.
well, you could have been, yeah, but that's how it goes, isn't it? Really.
So had a lucky escape, really. I think
Yeah.
the fact that those poor devils, but.
But mines,
It
I
ended
think
the
the
war,
mines are some of the worst things. I mean, you know, the bows of the ship touch a mine, you're gone. I was in Malta when 2 destroyers came back in. They'd been patrolling up round off of Haifa and round there. Both of them had hit mines, and they both got them home back into Malta, because they've got a big dockyard in Malta, haven't they?
did have,
It would
yeah.
take the biggest ships that you could find. It was one they sunk,
Yeah.
and the ships could go in and it would come up, and they say it would take the biggest ships that we got. Legend has it that it says that. But these 2 ships limped back home. The bows had gone off of one and the stern off the other. But that was them when I was there. I see them come back in. So it was still active with mines. I mean, the war had only been over, what as I said, 5 months or thereabouts, or thereafter. Or it was a bit later than that when I went out there. Of course it was, but it was still lively.
I should imagine it was. They're still finding
'Cause
mines
it-
now, aren't
yes,
they?
of
Just off the
course, 'cause
coast.
Yes.
It was well mined out there. It must have been.
Yeah. No.
But I always go back and think, and I have to take my hat off, I often think of them poor devils on the Russian convoys. The weathers and the storms that they went through, when you look at the ships and see they was iced up, going up round to the top of, well, I suppose, would it be Scapa Flow or Scotland, and round out there to get there.
Mr. Tucker
By
was
God,
on, was that?
they were sitting targets. All our ships were sitting targets with the U-boats. I mean, he was turning U-boats out like canning fish.
Yeah.
They was just turning them out.
Yeah.
What chance did you stand against that, Ken?
No.
You was a sitting duck.
Yeah.
So Mr. Tucker was on those, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Yeah, and I did see a film on that.
Yeah.
And I have to say,
Not good.
it does give me a lump in my neck. I have to take my hat off to them men that did that.
Yeah.
They recognised them, and I think they've just given them a medal now
They have, yeah.
for their after all those years.
Yeah.
And they look a bit antiquated, some of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, don't look at myself. But
We better go home and find Mum, Dad.
yeah. But when you look at them ships and that, and see all them rails and in photo, well, Tommy Tucker, he's gone, poor Tommy, but he was on those
Yes,
here.
he was. Yeah.
You know, when you listen to some of them stories, well, the old boy, well, we could be gone next. You see the bloke in front of you, that lot's gone down. You know, you could be next, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't stand a chance in hell.
No.
I mean, it's like those sailors now out in the Atlantic there on that not rowing boat, on that
No.
sailing boat there. They didn't use, obviously, it must have been so quick, they was overturned and gone. I dare say they obviously them at cold waters, but when you're going up there in the waters like that, or anywhere come to that, it's But there you go.